And then imagine if you had a pirate Wall as well, just to get
But
the attack speed and the bounty. That would have been
he
funny.
got a DD rune straight off the bat. The
Yeah.
first rune he got was a DD and then an arcane rune. So no cooldown on Spark Wraith, lower cooldown on Tempest Stubble, and a DD on top. I specifically remember. I wish I could find the replay because it was quite hilarious watching it, but I can't remember where it is.
The days of balance. Still, Arc Warden's very balanced in its own way. Of course, it can stall out games for 90 minutes, so you don't want to have to deal with that. I think Motivate.Trust could still opt for the Medusa here if they wanted to. Like, they see the core matchup. They probably figure DK offlane. Maybe, again, flex for Carl on mid. They go with a Kunkka first here on Motivate.Trust, so they're tanking up. They've got the X combo to hold down any sort of initiation from T1, any sort of retreat as well. The boat buff is going to be beneficial for the rest of the team, especially Timbersaw. Going to be even harder to burst down. T1 does have a great answer for the big physical cores Motivate.Trust love. They do have the Winter Wyvern, so they've got their own heal coming out here with a Winter Wyvern. They've got the Winter's Curse to break up the team fight for Motivate.Trust and turn their own damage against them. And we have seen Winter Wyverns have a lot of impact. It won't be able to block out the damage coming through from the Lion and to a certain extent from the Timbersaw, but that Cold Embrace heal is still really annoying. Motivate.Trust still get to pick the Phoenix. They've got their back and forth combo. They've got their own team fight lining up. No combination with the Egg though. No Dream Coil coming through. So you're not getting as much setup here. But I like how T1 responds to this draft. They go with a Razor. So if you want to run Razor versus Kunkka, you can just sap away at his damage. Make sure the Tideburner is not going to do as much. Dominate that lane. Clear out the creep wave with the Plasma Field as well. You can run down the Timbersaw if you want to lane it that way. Just take away his damage and have him pop a lot of physical early on before the reactive is up. That could be one lane you run as well with Razor off the DK mid. But it does feel like you want to match the Razor to the Kunkka. And I think T1 has a much more tied-in draft here for Game 2.
Yeah, I do agree, right? Like, this draft from T1 looks much stronger than Game 1. And I guess it goes back to just securing that POS 1 for Savage. And then every other pick just becomes a lot easier. Because the POS 1s is really what it's all about right now in this current meta. Just all about getting the primary position 1 before you see it getting banned out. And well, Motivate.Trust, they're in that awkward position now. They don't have many carry picks left. It's interesting to try and figure out what they're going to pick up now. Like, you don't really want the melee carries because it's into Razor. It's going to be very hard. So you're not looking towards an Ursa or a Lifestealer or anything like that. Not to mention you're against Winter Wyvern, which makes things that much worse. What else do you have, though? Like, you got Drow, I guess, but that doesn't feel amazing. You do have the front line of the Timber and the Kunkka, which is kind of nice. What other position 1 could you see Jackie on?
It's very limited. I think T1's done a great job of shutting down win conditions. Maybe you could go for Great King is the Jackie here that's left. Doesn't feel great into this lineup. Does give you push, and it kind of plays with the durability of Kunkka. You just run the risk with a Winter Wyvern and a Razor around. You can kind of get kited around as well.
Seems
again,
like
very limited options.
Maybe you just have to Drow. I mean, you could try
it feels that way.
Spectre, I guess. Spectre could come in, but it doesn't feel good.
Nah, it's like you lose out the farm war against the Luna. There's a lot of push from T1 with its DP closing out. So they've got the DP Winter Wyvern support duo, looks like here. And they've got a lot of push, not just with these two heroes, but even the Luna has to factor in there. A lot of good right-click damage to melt these towers, to melt through the objectives. And yeah, the PL comes out, probably the only option left. So it makes it hard for the Winter Wyvern to find real PL if you're playing that way with a curse. You can use the PL illusions against the team of Motivate.Trust.
Yeah.
Your clear for Jackie isn't amazing. Like, Luna, Glaives can kind of do it, but at a certain point, Jackie's just going to have too many illusions to really handle. I suppose that is kind of mitigated by the Lucent Beam Ag Shard.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting back and forth. I think the Luna still has a better time getting initial farm, but as long as Motivate.Trust play as 4 and have Jackie take the jungle efficiently enough, at some point you're going to reach parity with Luna and you can just run from there.
Absolutely. The PL's the one carry I kind of forgot about, but the doppel does make it a little bit better. Against heroes like the Razor, you can just kind of doppel away from the static link. Eclipse pops, you could doppel away from that. It is a pretty nice pick considering that they had pretty much no options left. We'll see if Motivate can make this game 2 work to go 2-0 in their favor, or whether T1 are going to try and draw it up. If T1 don't win this match, then they're going to be pretty much in the same position SMG was yesterday. Just 0-4 in the group stage, but well, let's hope for their sake they managed to at least tie it up here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that a lot of people had high hopes for, and they're going into TI. They won some tournaments.
Oh, there's still high hopes. Relax. They're in SCA, John. The teams here, they know T1. They know them very well. Everyone's gonna chill out a bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're still looking good, but again, you want more. And I keep seeing chat talk about certain other games that T1's been taking a break with. Yeah. You know, there's been mention of that.
We brought it up yesterday, Gabe, and he has his powers. He might not be too happy about that. So Savage, might have to be a little bit careful about the games he plays. There is a very popular FPS game on Steam, actually. Not sure if you've heard it.
Yeah.
CS:GO, very, very good game. Should give it a try. TNC
I remember. I remember that. Like, it would always be like Team Dog or Among Us, and they'd be like, "Let's go CS after."
Yeah.
They would always like, "Let's go after this. Let's just go."
Then they got everything in their games. Everything went perfectly. Nothing ever went wrong.
Yeah, you just gotta pay tribute to the overlords here. Still, game will break out, and again, should be a rather interesting one. A bit of a different draft on both sides. Motivate.Trust still has that foundation with the Masaro's Timb and the Lion of Q. So they've still got that great combination. Q just runs into 23 Savage, just saying hi to each other. No real pokes, as both sides should be able to secure their bounties with no real engagements. I think their level 1s aren't particularly amazing. You can kind of run down with T1 though, especially if Carl manages to get a good slow from his supports and just sap away, but yeah, it doesn't look like either side's set for a big engagement yet.
No, certainly not. I think both teams probably just going to try and avoid each other the best they can right now. These both are drafts where you're looking to get past that laning phase to really get active on both sides. Like, I can't see either side really going for the big 5v5s until that 15-20 minute mark at minimum. And even then, you might still kind of be against it. Jackie, not going to be able to outclick Zephyr there. Zephyr does manage to pick up the rune. We'll go for a bit of harass onto Jackie. Not too much, but a substantial enough amount. Even chasing him down a little bit further to see if he can get some more. And he can. Gets one more hit. Does need to be somewhat cautious though. Jackie may turn around. It looks like he doesn't want to bother. He'll leave Zephyr go. He'll just get straight back to the lane. A man of business.
Yeah, this dual lane coming out from T1. DK and DP, it's a very sustain-heavy lane. I guess you can kind of play aggressive. If once you have the Spirit Siphon up, you can kind of trade hits with set 0. And you can see Zephyr's already cutting that Phoenix off. Of course, as it goes on, as long as you're buying space out for Jackie, you're fine here. Like, the Dragon Tail combos for Cuckoo aren't amazing. It's not like you have a Mirana. It's not like you have a follow-up stun. And Jackie should just be fine in building up farm here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have a look over to the mid lane where you'll see Fearless against Carl. Razor matchup with the Kunkka. It doesn't feel great for Fearless. The thing is, though, he's got the Tidebringer to rely on. So you can kind of trade harass, but the problem is when you get this static link like Carl just did, all your damage gets sapped away and you're not really going to be able to do too much. You are going to have to wait that duration out, and then you can start slapping Carl again with that Tidebringer.
Yeah, it's the back and forth timing. As levels go up, Tidebringer has more uptime. You're going to be able to just run around and kind of get the damage off on Carl. You just kind of have to watch your positioning. I think once you have the X, you have a nice way to break off the link, but that is like way down the line. Level 4 is when we see a 1-2-1 build. So for now, you're going to have to just deal with it, and it's going to be a trade of regen. Carl still has 2 tangos. Fearless is all out here.
Yeah, he certainly is, and well, you can say Fearless. He has 1 Fairy Fire, but that's not going to make him feel very safe. You can still try to play around with the Tidebringer, and that's exactly what he's going to do, but Carl could find a kill here any minute, especially if he has the mana. Looked like he does have the bottle on the way as well, so Bottle up. Mana going to be there for Carl. Now, Fearless has to be very careful of that plasma field. Luckily for him, Carl went for the level 2 static link. I think if that was a level 2 plasma field, that would have almost been a guaranteed kill.
Yeah, it's still a lot of pressure. Like, Fearless is just flying out a salve. Doesn't have a bottle. So you are ahead here for Carl, and man, this is scary for Fearless.
Yeah, Fearless very fire up. Carl just going to chase him down and does get the final hit off. Nice first blood for our Razor. Razor, I mean, Carl, he's having a great old time now. We should have a look at the top lane as well, while we do still have a chance. Looks like Whitemon will be there on the Winter Wyvern with 23 Savage. Masros again on his signature Timber. And you're going to have Q there on the line as well. They're going to try and go for a dive onto Whitemon. It's not going to be the easiest kill in the world. But when you've got a line here with so much disable, Masros might eventually be able to get the damage off. Savage, he's trying to help out, but it's not going to be enough. So they will at least find a support pick off on this offlane of Motivate. In fact, Savage, he's not out of the woods yet either. Masros wants to go for a dive. Q does have the Earth Spike up, and he does just land it right on the edge of Savage. Is going to drop. Q does take the kill. Savage, he's not going to be happy about that one.
No, it's a great lane for Motivate.Trust. We saw this last game with his duo. It just applies so much harassment. The Luna's no better off in this lane compared to the Void. You do have the sustain from Whitemon to play with, but it's not particularly amazing early on. They can try to harass out Q, but you have to watch when they turn around with mana. They can just zone you out. The good news here for Savage is that, despite that death, he is still finding the last hits. And as a Luna, his farm in the jungle is not going to be slow. It's going to be very quick on this hero. So even a slower laning start like this isn't going to hurt him too much as long as they secure that jungle control here on T1's end. They can always kind of catch up in that Luna.
Now Jackie going to go for a bit of a run. Bit of a chase here from Zephyr. He only has the level 1 Q, so he's not really going to be able to secure the kill, but he's going to continue the harassment out. Set 0 going to try and force him back. And it looks like Jackie, he will have a salve anyway, so he's going to be just fine to return his way back into the lane. It's good to see, though, that T1 is pressuring the safe lane very, very, very hard here.
Yeah, and it's a slower start for Jackie. Like, after getting some levels up, the output of Zephyr and Cuckoo is scary enough to kind of zone out this PL. Remember, the uptime of Doppel is fairly low early on, 25-second cooldown. You can't avoid every spell in this lane. And you do have to respect that. Once a DK is tanky enough, he can just trade hits favorably. So they're keeping good lid on Jackie. They're giving Savage some good space for T1. Despite the 2-1 start, I think their lanes are going off to a much better start compared to Game 1. Yeah, just the state of their cores are in a much better position than you'd expect from last time.
Gold is a great conductor.
Top lane. Oh, Masros again getting very, very deep. Savage is already quite low, but Carl is going to rotate. Masros, he's still focused on the Luna. Meanwhile, Carl, he does get Q. And now Masros, he needs a way out of this team fight. It looks like it won't be there, though. He'll try to Fairy Fire. Chains away, but Carl is moving way too quick. Another Chains, though. Underneath the tier 2 tower now. He's going to salve up, but he's trapped.
You are dead.
Oh, he gets trapped by the creep wave. He had no way out. And Carl, he will assist in getting a double kill at that top lane. That'll relieve a lot of pressure away from 23 Savage.
Yeah, that's a lot of value from that first rotation out from Carl with his first ult as well. We're not seeing Fearless kind of get those side lane rotations out himself. He's got the boat. Maybe he wants his supports to collapse mid instead. But considering that rotation out from Carl, it's going to be hard to put a lid on that Razor at this point. And they know the ult is down. It's not the longest cooldown, though. And Carl's just going to be able to really run around now. He's just been such a nuisance towards Fearless. Fearless is still keeping up in farm, and he is abusing the X mark back. So you can kind of control the lane, but again, T1, they managed to get that network lead on their side. They're relieving pressure on Savage. Jackie still not quite catching up in the CS, and they're going to have to find a way to get this PL up and running soon.
Yeah. Zephyr, you get to work. Jackie, he has spot of danger. Set 0. He's going to Icarus dive out. And so just level 2 Spirit Cypher, not really that big of a deal. Doesn't do too much damage. As Cuckoo's going to go back in. He wants to keep applying this pressure, and he realizes how tanky he is. He'll get a stun off. Crypt Swarm is there. Set 0. He is going to drop the Zephyr. Jackie unable to find any form of a trade here on the PL. And Cuckoo just so aggressive, but it does pay off.
Yeah, that's the one thing with the Phoenix support, right? Like, all your spells cost a portion of
Masaros.
HP. You never do good, although.
Yeah, top lane. He tried to dive again. Carl does immediately rotate in to make sure that nobody dies. Hell, even Fearless did show up as well on that Kunkka. He still has the boat up, but he doesn't have an X to set up. They're going to move in, though. Carl, quite deep in his own tree line. Pretty evident, though, that they wanted to try and get 23 Savage. He has backed off to the fountain anyway. Looks like Savage, he is actually going to TP back up. No, in fact, Zephyr's going to TP up here. Savage is taken to the mid lane instead.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a position to just dip into the jungle right after clearing creep wave. They are keeping that chase on Masaros. He is fairly tanky, but they've got the numbers to try and hammer in this Timbersaw again.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely do. They don't really want to try bothering yet. Don't forget that all this attention on Masaros is attention being taken away from Jackie. And that's your main cause of concern here for T1. Is this PL that's just so far behind is now able to catch up. But now Carl, he's not going to leave Jackie alone. He'll go for the static link out. Plasma field is there. It won't connect. But it does allow him to disengage and make sure that Fearless can not get the X combo off.
Yeah, it's a really tricky spot because now you're playing the farm war against the Luna. It looks like they have Zephyr, though.
They do have Zephyr. He's level 4. Jackie will take the kill, and that's some gold he desperately needed. He's just so far behind in net worth. In fact, both him and Fearless are both so behind in net worth right now. And speaking of Fearless, he's been stunned up. He's going to throw the boat out to try and buy himself some time, and will make it out. T1, they're not going to bother. They force the rotations into the mid lane, and they'll be happy with that. In fact, I say that, Carl, still looking to get aggressive, but he thinks better of it.
It's a big issue for Motivate.Trust that their supports aren't able to get EXP. The Q needs the finger up, they need the egg up on set 0. And once the tome is up, at least one of the supports will have the ults, but they can't really fight right now against these EXP spikes on T1. Level 8 and Carl, level 7 and Cuckoo, they're very tanky frontliners. You don't have the burst and control to handle them, and they're just able to do what they want. They're just going to take this mid-tier 1.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Definitely great news here for T1. $4K net worth lead at 10 minutes in. A massive lead to have. Savage and Carl right at the top of that net worth graph. And even taking stacks away now from the Radiant Triangle, which is, you know, if you're T1, you love to see this. Q. Earth Spike does connect. They're going to try and chase down Savage. A lot of damage out, chains forward. Masaros, Chakram's there. They get the X off. Savage, he might get punished for taking those stacks, and he will. In fact, Jackie's the one to take it, but now Carl, he's going to try and trade position ones, but it's not going to work out. Q does have the Earth Spike. Jackie, I mean, he's finding a couple kills here, Johnny. He's going to catch up at this rate if you're not too careful.
Yeah, you do have to be careful about bleeding out those kills. Jackie's still in a really low spot, though. Like 3.3k. It doesn't feel like the kills are helping him close that gap all too much. The disparity in farm efficiency is just too big between the PL and the Luna. Like, as long as Savage doesn't die again, I think you're pretty fine here. Keep playing in the jungle. They are slowly chipping away at these ancient stacks, though. Fearless just hammering away with a Tidebringer. So Jackie should... Actually, they're going to be trading farm, sharing that farm at the very least. They're going to be splitting up the stacks. Not ideal. Take what you can get. They're starting to pressure the top tier 1. T1 does take the bot tier 1. It's a lot of T1s in a single sentence. The top one is fairly low. T1 does have the Winter's Curse ready if they actually want to go for the defense. And they've got TPs out the ready here if they want to.
Yeah. Top T1 tower. Masaros, he'll go after that first. Just try and secure that. Waimon, he's been around soaking XP and getting a bit of farm up on the Wyvern. We'll eventually just let it go down. Really can't do much to stop Masaros on this Timber now.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Double damage going to be spotted out here for Fearless. He doesn't have a bottle on the Kunkka, so you probably won't really see him taking advantage of that DD rune in a team fight, but you can still help him escalate and farm, and I think that's probably even more important right now as Masaros seems to love going after Whitemon. Won't be able to really go after the big dive past that tier 2 tower though. Whitemon, he had the curse anyway just in case, so he would have always been fine. Mid lane, boat is there, Carl, it does connect, Earth Spike, Torrent, all of it being thrown out. Finger, it's not enough. He survives on about 50 HP as now Zephyr is going to chase down Q. And looks like eventually should be able to finish off the kill as Cuckoo going to get the vision and the Crypt Swarm is there. Can they punish? Egg's going to be dropped, Cuckoo, he's going to be targeted. They do have a few hits out on the egg, but instead they're just going to walk away. Whitemon, it looks like he's going to be caught, but no, he gets the curse off in time. Icarus dive, though, from Set Zero. Sunray, it's all going to be enough to get the kill, but what's it going to cost the side of Motivate? Set Zero, he's going to drop. Masaros, he'll be chased down as well. He does chain away. Meanwhile, Carl apparently kills off Jackie. Jackie dies solo to Carl on the Razor.
Yeah, this is really dicey for Motivate.Trust. They're trying to keep the aggression up with these level 6 spikes. It's not lining up. The Razor is too tanky. The DK is very tanky as well. And the heal that's coming out from Whitemon, he keeps himself in a really good spot to not get bursted down too early on. And it just leads to a lot of sustain for T1. And while all that happens, Savage is still farming. Savage is farming very fast this time. Like, the Luna is just a lot better of a hero in clearing out that jungle. 6.8k net worth, about 2k above Jackie. Jackie being the bottom core. Like, this PL needs to catch up. It needs the Diffusal, it needs the SNY or Manta next. It's just so far away from that.
Cook. He's going to be fine. Fearless, he might be able to get the X off, but can you actually kill this DK right now? They'll commit the boat will fly in. That'll help Fearless maybe just run away. They will get away from Carl's Razor. Just nothing going the way of Motivate though. I mean, there's still a 4k net worth lead. And I suppose the objective here for Motivate.Trust is to just keep buying time, but that net worth graph just looks so depressing if you're a Motivate.Trust fan. And Jackie, they scanned him out. They know he's in the tree line somewhere. Jackie's got a whiff that something's wrong. Doppel was there, but no, Carl, he saw it. He saw the animation. They know exactly where he is in Cuckoo. He'll give the tip over. Perfect timing for Cuckoo and the rest of T1. And poor old Jackie, he just can't catch a break.
No. They did scan out that smoke. That's why Jackie went in, but he didn't have his TP off cooldown. So good punishment coming through. They should be able to find that tier 1 top. They lose their mid tier 1. But they already took the opposing tier 1, so it doesn't feel too bad for T1. The bot is being pressured in by Masaros. He's just cutting the creep wave. You're finding some objectives. You're not getting Jackie farm. No matter what's happening on the map, Motivate just can't buy enough space for the PL to catch up. It's a 3k deficit now. I don't know how long it will take for Jackie to close that, because Savage is just ready to show up. I believe he's got the full Sanjinyasha just finished up flying in now. And he's going to be really tanky in front. He's got the value point in the clips up. He's ready to go in these team fights, whereas the PL, he's just not. Like, no Diffusal yet. At 15.5 minutes in,
Goodness.
It's a very, very scary spot for your PL to be this far behind. And you're not getting enough in your other cores to really compensate. Masaros is 1k behind. Carl, same for Fearless. They've only got this Spirit Vessel running on Fearless to kind of get some work done. BKB still a ways off. So the item spikes for Motivate.Trust are just pushed way far behind. And T1's just really abusing that fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
They'll eventually get this bottom tier 1 tower. Eventually. Very, very slow with the timber. But it gets done. Motivate, they're going to take this side of the map, and they have actually lowered the net worth lead to 3k now for T1. So you've got that going for you. Problem is, T1, they still pretty much hold the game in their hands. Like, the momentum's all their way. They've got the much better timing on their heroes with this draft, and I mean, Luna, it's not a bad position 1 right now. It's one of the best position 1s in the game at the moment. So Savage being this far ahead, it's only going to escalate. Bot lane, Masaros, Static Link is there. They just lock him up. There's your Dragon Tail out. Sunray is going to heal him as now the boat flies in. Maybe they can fight. Carl, he's been caught. Egg is down. The finger's there. They've got Carl down, but they're going to lose the egg immediately. And now Fearless in the Winter's Curse could be in danger. He's a tanky boy now with that boat buff, but how long is that going to last? Zephyr, meanwhile, on the pos 4 DP, just doing so much work. Taking down Q, forcing back Masaros. And it ends up being a 3-for-1 trade. I think the only real positive is they got Carl and they bought Jackie a bit of farming space. That's about it though.
It's a bit of farming space, but Jackie had to show up in that fight as well. So he wasn't really clearing out camps, clearing out a free lane. He's not really able to capitalize on that space. T1, the response is just way too strong. Like the disparity with Jackie and everyone else is just really wide. Like Jackie's level 10. Everyone else is nearly at level 12 on their cores. Even Fearless is ahead of him. There's just not enough resources flowing onto the PL to really get him up and running. He's got the defusal up, so joining the fights is not too bad, but he needs more stats. The Sanj and Yasha looking to line up next, at least the Yasha first. And at that point, you can kind of start running, but it just doesn't compare. Like you are 5 levels ahead on Savage. You have your full SNY to BKB. Going to be farmed up really quick by the Luna. And once you're at the BKB mark, nothing will touch Savage. Your Lion can't get control, your Kunkka can't get damage off, your Timbersaw can't, your PL can try to right-click. But when you're this far behind, it doesn't feel like those right-clicks are going to be great.
Carl again trying to bully Fearless here in this top lane, but the X is going to be there. No, wait, Carl, he does have the Yule Scepter out. Fearless, he's going to boat TP. And he's still got stunned anyway. I'm not sure what the boat's point was. I guess he wanted to tank up just in case, but boat down, TP down, and Fearless is almost certainly just down as well. Zephyr will take that kill for himself.
That is space, I guess, because Jackie's farming. One of the cores, in fact, all of the cores have to show up to these lanes to just close out that network gap, but you're sacrificing the big tempo cores now, and T1, knowing that the Kunk is down, no boat available, they smoke up, they're gonna wrap around, go on the hunt. If they manage to catch out Jackie, it just goes from bad to worse here.
That it does. Astaros, he's gonna force 2 TP rotations towards that bottom lane, however, towards the backside, set 0. Maybe be caught, no, they're gonna see Jackie first. No, they don't. They didn't spot him out in time. They'll go after the Phoenix instead. They should be able to get him. They've locked him down long enough with the silence out. That'll be set 0 gone, and now Masaros. He'll be used up. He's quite low on mana, and it's going to be a very hard ask to get out. He's trying his absolute best to run out of there, but the damage output is just too high from T1. That'll be a 6-14 now. Net worth lead going up to 5k for T1. I suppose the game is not yet over. But this net worth disparity, it just continues to climb.
Yeah, I mean, Savage just keeps pulling ahead. 11k net worth, a full 3k above EPL, and it's just set to escalate. In fact, closer to 4k there, as Jackie does find Zephyr.
Okay. It's a kill if he can get it. Problem is, you've got the Cold Embrace from Whitemon. Fearless, he's going to move in with the X-Torrent boat combination, throwing it all out onto that Wyvern. They do burst him down. Nice little finger charge there for Q, his second of the game. I suppose that's the only game plan Motivate have left. Just keep buying time.
Yep, it's a stall game for them. I think you want to do that while trying to slow down Savage. The issue is you just can't reach out to those farming spots of T1. And BKB is up for Savage, so he's well protected even if he does get initiated. They are smoking around here though, Motivate.Trust.
That's a big target, 23. He's going to show himself too. This is a greedy farming position here from Savage. Very risky. He thinks he's far enough ahead that this won't happen, but he's got no teammates around to help him. TP's come for the bot T2 tower, but that's a bottom T2 tower. And you've got to be careful, and that's a greedy position. You know, if it doesn't pay off for you, you're going to give a lot of gold and XP back the other way. Carl. You can jump with the Icarus dive. Masaros gonna move in. Carl might need to back now, but they've got the X off. They've got the boat to fly in with the egg and the turret. And it looks like they might find another huge target. And they will. Cold Embrace not going to be enough. Whitemon, he's out with the curse, but he might be a third death. They will get the Phoenix, but to what avail? In fact, no. Set-Zero will survive.
Radiant structure.
Okay, now you've got to be wary of this T1. You can't play like this. It could turn that darn quick if you give away kills like that. In fact, Cuckoo.
Oh.
Jeez, that was close.
Yeah, almost finding that kill. If they found even more cores, that network swing would be even wider. Down to a 3k lead for T1. Savage has to watch his back. He felt protected by that ward, but the smoke just came out at the right time there on Motivate.Trust. And they're starting to build up. You're seeing exactly how they win out on Motivate.Trust. If they split up T1, catch them off guard, find those key pickoffs. T1 is not able to respond. They are stronger as a team, but that advantage is gone when you're going in one by one. So, good punishment out for Motivate.Trust. They managed to at least finish up the BKB here on Fearless. He's rushing the Ags next on the Kunkka, so the Torrent Storm's going to be a factor in these engagements down the line. And we know how disruptive that is. It really protects the egg well as in these team fights once it's up. So you have options to take these engagements for Motivate.Trust. It's starting to open up a bit more. Jackie, his SNY is almost done. He's still severely behind Savage. Still at that 3k disparity with Luna. But if they keep killing off Savage, if they keep catching him off guard, Motivate.Trust can kind of mitigate that. And that has to be what T1 starts to think about. They need to just have someone stick to Savage every single time, have him protected in the farm, and kind of play as a team. Like, once they've got a couple of their ults back up, I think they should just look to make a play. There's no reason for them to kind of take it super slow. And they can take these fights right now. We've seen them melt these heroes on Motivate.Trust quite quick. They just need to stick as 5.
T1 being a lot more cautious now, but you can see Motivate. You can almost feel that they're feeling the momentum now behind them. SNY on the way for Jackie. So he's just got a bit tankier, a bit more damage. Who have they caught there? It's gonna be Masaros. They've got the silence out as well. Can they save him in time? He is still alive, but just barely goes down before the chains comes out. That is somewhat concerning that it took that much damage to kill off this Timber. But it is going to open up the Roshan pit.
Yeah. It's going to be a nice Roche to take. You have to be weary of the Kunkka outside. Fearless can just toss the Torrent, toss the boat, get scouting out, and you're going to know the Roche is up.
That buyback is there. Masaros, he wants to join this team fight. They really don't want to let it go down. They've got the egg up. X-Boat is going to be there onto Cuckoo, but the Cold Embrace is going to save us now. The egg is down. Q, a great impel out. He landed on 2, but the curse. Whitemon, he may have just saved the day. He puts a stop to all this fighting, but Jackie is going to chase him down on the Wyvern. He's made it out, but the Roshan is going to go the way of Fearless. Zephyr, he tried to steal the Aegis, but it does not work out. Oh, and I think it was Q with the Earth Spike, John. A double Earth Spike in the Roshan pit. And they just couldn't fight back after it.
Yeah, they don't respect the AoE control coming out from Motivate here on T1 side. Like, they still rush in. They don't respect the egg. They don't respect the boat, the torrent coming out from Fearless. All that control in a wide area. T1 don't really have that same control outside of Curse. The Curse was nice. It just wasn't on the target they wanted it on. And at that point, the fight was too scattered for T1. To Motivate, they're still keeping themselves in the game. They've still got time to keep that farm on Jack, and he has climbed to number 2 in net worth. The 2 other cores of T1 have started to drop off. Cuckoo and Carl taking the back seat now to just give that farm to Savage. And the investment, it's starting to ramp up. Savage is going for the usual Lucent Beam build into the Daedalus. So the Ag Shard into Daedalus coming up next. And that can help manage the illusion spam coming through from Jackie. The issue is, again, they have to watch how far they commit for someone like Masaros. Like, with the Holy Locket up on set 0, The Sunray heal is actually really strong. You probably just can't burst through it. T1 though, they are going to smoke up. This isn't an Aegis, so they got to choose their targets right here.
Yeah, absolutely. T1. Gonna move into the triangle. Fearless.
Dire's top tower
TP's out of time. They're gonna find his courier, so there's something. And Cuckoo, he'll commit for the courier. Decent amount of gold, 105 each.
Dire's top
Definitely
tower
worth it at
is
this
under
stage.
attack.
Still a 4k advantage the way of T1. That momentum shift is the concerning part here for T1 though, as mid lane, Masaros starting to posture very aggressively. Zephyr will turn around with the silence out. Zephyr even buying his own Crimson Guard now. So really help out the team a little bit. T1, they're not going to find Motivate, and now Motivate, they're in the triangle. It's going to be a hard team fight to take if you are T1. You haven't really got a way into it. Masaros, he's almost baiting them. This is very dangerous. They're going to go take the bait. I don't know if it'll work out, though. They've got the low ground. The boat's going to fly in. It'll make him even tankier. Set Zero still holding onto the egg as Masaros. He's going to chain away Carl with the BKB. Going to go right after Q. There's Yeg out now, and Jackie, he might just commit. They want to go after Carl on the Razor. The egg going to go all the way. It looks like it just barely makes it. Set Zero, he gets there. Zephyr has dropped now. Savage, he'll get the Eclipse out. He'll try to fight this one out. Onto the Phoenix they go. They will take him down. No buybacks as of yet, but there's Set Zero. He'll commit the buyback now. 23 Savage. He's trying to fight. Cold Embrace. Gonna buy more time. Whitemon. He saved the day. Or has he? Jackie is still gonna try and fight, but they stun him up. Still onto the Luna. They've got rid of the Aegis now, but they do lose 23 Savage, and he does not have the buyback. Onto Cuckoo. The Dragon. He can't survive this. He's completely surrounded. The Cold Embrace will buy a bit more time. It's just not enough. And Whitemon, he'll be the final casualty of war. It was a hard team fight to take. They tried to go into the higher ground. They had the BKBs, but once they were off, it just wasn't enough from T1. And now they got an X back in onto Carl. Do they have the damage? You bet your ass they do, John. And this game, it's going right back the opposite way. Motivate.Trust, you can't give them these kind of opportunities.
Now, you called it in game one. Motivate.Trust are somewhat the comeback kings of Southeast Asia. They take that lead all the way down. Savage doesn't have a noticeable item advantage anymore. It's only 2k up. The high ground's opened up here for Motivate. They make great use of their Aegis. They can't jump Masaros anymore. He is just too tanky, especially if the Phoenix is around. That Holy Locket keeping him alive. The boat to even stall out more. T1 needs to get better targets to jump first. They need to jump the Phoenix and the Lion. And they need to take care of those supports. Now they're going to lose the first set of racks. The tier 2 still stand for Motivate as well.
Yeah, it certainly does. Masaros going to move in. Whitemon. So he's been X'd up. They might be able to burst down the Wyvern, but no, they've got to try and protect Masaros and make sure he doesn't drop on the timber. T1, they are still a very, very powerful kind of team here with this draft. Even with that last team fight not going their way, you've still got to be a bit wary. You've got to give him respect. And Savage, he is still top of the net worth board. Again, I think the main mistake was trying to go aggressive into the high ground of that dire triangle. Again, the BKBs wear out. You're kind of sitting ducks after that.
Yeah, it's that, forcing the fight into the high ground and chasing a timber saw. Like, you just don't gain anything jumping Masaros. Like, once you pop your BKBs, you should focus on someone else. You can't really chase around a Timb. Your control, again, is limited here to Dragon Tail and the silence out from Zephyr. Maybe if you commit that Winter's Curse, you can try to pin them down as well, but that's a heavy spell to commit for the Timb. You'd rather try to catch someone else out. You need to kill the supports. And T1 just needs to find the back line somehow, jump Q, jump Set Zero before the egg flies out. There's just so much value in the control here for Motivate.Trust compared to what T1 supports do. Like, they've got Sustain with Winter Wyvern, they've got the Winter's Curse. They only really have Dragon Tail to just hold. Maybe you can count Lucent Beam, but it doesn't hold for long. And Motivate.Trust just piles that control on, focuses on you one by one. With a peel, it's death by a thousand cuts.
He's in. He's going to pop the BKB. They'll try to burst down Q, but there's your egg out. You've got to focus one or the other. They can't focus either. They've got to get the hell out of there. They do force out the egg. It's not such a bad start, but now the boat's going to come in onto Cuckoo. They found 2 with the stun. Carl, he's already down as well. Jackie kills him off on the PL. Savage, he's going to move in now with the Eclipse, but there's so many illusions taking all the damage. Savage, he's surrounded. Jackie, he's going to have his way with him. The BKB's about to wear off. 23, he's trying to run, but the BKB's gone now. They defuse him up. The cold embrace, it's not going to be enough. He's on literal fire right now as Massaros gets the flamethrower out. There is no buyback, John. It's tier 4 time.
They're going.
Yeah, they're going all right. Motivate, it looks like they may get a 2-0 victory here up against T1. Just depends how fast they can take these tier 4 towers. Motivate? No, I don't think they feel confident. Crimson Guard's there from Zephyr. That's going to delay things. Jackie, he's going to get the mid-racks just to make sure. Just so they get something. They'll make the jump in onto the Death Prophet. It's still a 2v4 scenario. Zephyr trying to survive, but just about to die. In fact, Whitemon, he's just dying to illusions right now. He'll get to the fountain though. But the Ancient is exposed. The buybacks will fly out. Zephyr, he'll try one more time. Fearless, he's going to TP up, but that's just a reset. He'll X back. Cuckoo, he's back up. They're missing their POS 1. Can they really defend without him? Jackie, he's going to be forced back. Fearless is there to help out though. They'll go for the X onto Whitemon, but the torrent's not going to land, which means the boat won't land either. Still, they get the Earth Spike. Back on a Master Cuckoo, but the BKB's there. He's going to try and fight back onto Massaros. Back in on the Timber. He's still a tanky target. Can they get him down? The Yule Scepter's out. He can chain away. He does get away. They're still on the chains though, but no, they get him. And now 23 Savage is back. And the Ancient, while it is exposed, is not down. And that means T1 is not out of this game yet.
And they hold on. They still have tier 2s on either side lane. So Motivate.Trust couldn't go for more objectives. That was the only play they could make. And T1, they've still got some hope, right? You've got the Winter's Curse. It's a really big spell to use in these high ground defenses. I don't know about the target last time though. I think it flew out onto Massaros. It didn't really do much. Massaros is just too tanky for even his own team to kill off. And T1, the BKBs are starting to dwindle down. 6-second charge for Savage. Down to...
Torrent, boat, gonna fly in. They have the finger up and they're gonna pop it. Carl's gone again. He's gonna have buyback this time. And I don't think they're going to be able to make a big push anyway. And luckily for T1, Roshan's not up either. It's a late timer.
Yeah, they get to get some space back out. Try to keep building up on Savage. He's very close to buying out the Daedalus. The big issue there is he's not going to have buyback. So he's got to make that choice. Does he prioritize the damage or that second life in case he gets picked off? I have a feeling he might just go for the Daedalus, just thinking that it fixes his issues. I think your issue now is that your glaives only bounce 6 times. There are a million PL illusions in a single fight. So you're never... And they're going to soak up a lot of the crit damage just flying through. A lot of the damage that Luna tends to leverage in a bigger team fight. And it just makes it awkward now for the PL versus Luna. Right? You want to bounce around. You want to kill the rest of the team. The illusions soak up too much damage. So the Daedalus maybe helps you clear out those illusions faster. You still have a lot to dig into, and I think I'd say you prioritize buyback here, but we'll see. We'll see if Savage takes that risk. If he does die in the next engagement with a Daedalus up, that's going to be a Luna with no buyback with an exposed Ancient.
What a game it's been. What a day it's been so far. I mean, I feel like every series today has just been so good. Just a classic pro series. That's what we love about this region. I mean, it just feels like every matchup just could be an absolute monster of a matchup. And we've still got one after this, John. The night's not over. Right after this, we've got GXR back on an undefeated streak up against Army Geniuses.
Yeah, that one's going to be a pretty tight one. Should be a fun one. Like, I love watching AG. GXR has also been surprising us. And I think that matchup is a lot closer than most people would expect. And this one's also a lot closer than most people would have expected, at least according to the odds. Motivate.Trust just off to a really good comeback after their first series. First series didn't look so hot. This time around, they're in proper form, and T1's just constantly tested. Savage does buy the Daedalus out, so he is short 1.5k for the buyback. He's gonna be able to farm that up quick, but he can't die. Just don't die, Savage. Don't take the risk.
Yeah. I mean, Motivate.Trust, they're having a look for him too, John. They're in the dire jungle right now, trying to see if they can find an easy target to get. Of course, they want to control this area anyway. Roshan is 55 seconds away from spawning up, and they've still got that top 2 tower to go for. The top tier 2, excuse me. In the meantime, apparently Aghanim Scepter is up as well. So Fearless, he's got the water park going. Torrent Storm is now available. Always a bit of fun to see our FPS drop after that skill is used as T1. Looking for an entrance here. Fearless wouldn't be too bad of a target. They do get the stun off. They burst him down. Glimmer Cape is there. Q, he's the real target. They do get rid of the Lion. He has no buyback. Boto, there's your Torrent Storm out. Look at the amount of control that Fearless gets out for his team, but nobody's able to follow up. The Eclipse is there. They just can't get anything done right now without their Lion. They need to back the hell out. Carvo, he does drop to Jackie. Massaros does get stunned up. Cuckoo still going to move in. Savage, he's going to be careful. He's quite low in HP. Jackie, he's not going to go after the Luna. Instead, he'll try to help out his brother and Massaros, but he's already down. No buyback available for him either. Savage, he'll help out now. Onto the PL. Jackie, what kind of magic can you do here, sir? It's so hard, but he might find him. The Cold Embrace is there. Whitemon, he tries to help, but there's no buyback. Savage! He went back in without buyback, and now Cuckoo, he has to deal with Jackie, but Jackie's just 1v5ing them. He doesn't care. And the Ancient
was left alone.
Oh, the Ancient. How anticlimactic. Everyone's having a laugh. Like, what the hell just happened? Nobody realized. We didn't realize. Who cares? I mean, a great game altogether. In the end, Motivate.Trust, they end up getting a 2-0 victory over T1. This is why we need more cameras, John. I mean, I can't be the only observer. We need another one. We need at least 2 more.
Yeah, we need that split screen action. Still, I mean, it's only one. That's the thing. It's like one lane of racks and you don't expect it, but the fight dragged on for so long and it just got chipped away. And it ends up really even. 23-23 for 23 Savage. Now, unfortunately, not an auspicious number for T1 today. Motivate.Trust finding their 2-0 win after a 0-2 loss. Good bounce back from them. T1, they're on a pretty rough streak. They haven't found a win yet in the Pro Series group, so we'll have to see them try next time. But Motivate.Trust, they're showing up. This is the team that a lot of people were looking at in TO qualifiers to get a dark horse run. Didn't quite line up, but they're showing us what happens when they're in their best form. A team like T1 can get knocked down a peg twice over.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to look for that win elsewhere. Great plays for Motivate.Trust to close out. Great belief in Jackie despite that slow start to get that PL up and running to the point where it was just unstoppable.
Absolutely. And with that, John, we do go on to our final series and hopefully another banger for us. GXR versus Army Geniuses. These two teams, they have been a bit back and forth. Every time they've matched up, I feel like it's always very, very close between the two. GXR, though, currently undefeated. Looking fantastic. Going from the group stages into the main event. Let's see if they can keep it up here. For now, it is MLP johnxfire, and I believe we are going to be roughly waiting about 15 minutes, maybe 20 maximum, but I'll try to update the timer to be accurate this time around. And we'll be back as soon as that first game draft is up. We'll see you then.